Scotland. Have you followed what's been going on there? Nicola Sturgeon, it popped up on my phone, so it did, and it made me go, oh, blimey, it stopped my conversation in its tracks. What about you? Did you see it coming? Do you think it was the right move, the wrong move? I'll let you ponder that at home, but the conversation I want to have here tonight is, what does it all mean for the SNP? The SNP brand, party, do you think it can kind of recover from a lot of this controversy now, Ben? Well,
you know, the SNP hasn't made its way in politics by actually governing well. We know that they can't govern Scotland well. The schooling's not doing well, the health system's not doing well. They've turned their back, and Emma's going to shake her head about what I'm about to say. But
I'm 100% agree with you.
Yeah, so far. But they've turned their back on North Sea oil, you know, which is a fantastic natural resource just off the coast of Scotland. So in terms of governance, they're terrible. But what they have done is champion every minority interest right going in order to paint themselves as this virtuous, morally correct force for good. And Nicola Sturgeon was at the forefront of that, the creation of that imagery. And I can see her now saying Tory sleaze. I can't do a Scottish accent, but you know, Tory sleaze. I can't.
Oh, Ben, come on. You can't tell me that you're imagining it in a Scottish accent.
Well, I can just see Nicola Sturgeon rattling around in my head. Go, I can't do it.
It's got shy.
Yeah, Tory sleaze. Tory sleaze. Is that about right?
That sounds... I mean, who am I to talk about accents? I mean, when you sound like me, I just need to shut up, don't I? Anyway, go on.
But, you know, so it's this whole thing about moral correctitude, wrapping herself in virtuous clothing. And then she gets arrested. Her husband's been arrested, and I don't want to make any comment about whether or not they're guilty.
We've got to skate on thin ice because it's an ongoing legal investigation. So if you're sitting there thinking, why aren't you saying this and that and the other, it's because it's, of course, no one's been found guilty of anything. It's an ongoing case, etc., etc.
But there are some circumstantial dots that we can join up. She resigned as leader in February, 15th of February, saying that she didn't have the stamina for the job. A few weeks later, we had the police going around to the house, covering it in tents and digging up the lawn. I mean, goodness knows what they were looking for.
Odd.
And then the whole £600,000, you know, claim that that money's gone astray and somehow she or her husband may or may not be implicated in it. And she's dragged in for questioning for 7 hours. And this afternoon, Hamza Yousaf, declined to suspend the whip. And it wasn't... No one was suggesting he kick her out of the party, just suspend her position.
Until investigations are concluded.
Yeah, and he's refused to do it. So this is not a party that believes in virtue. This is a party that will do anything to hide their awful stint in government, champion any minority cause to, you know, to cover up their failures, and won't stand by the same yardsticks they set.
Indeed. And a lot of people will say Hamza is basically the continuity candidate. That's what a lot of people were saying about him at the time. But do you think this has been all a bit of a blur to the SNP's brand and it's unrecoverable or not?
I don't know about unrecoverable, because ultimately, the question that divides Scotland is independence or not. At the moment, that's lagging in the polls, and the SNP are doing worse than they've done for over 10 years. But it is still a very strong constituency, and that constituency tends to vote for the SNP, whatever the SNP's failures on, as Ben has said, a multitude of other issues are. What it is doing is making it very, very hard for them to advance at all at the next election. And not go quite considerably backwards. Hamza Yousaf is proving to be an incredibly weak leader, because in terms of whether or not he should suspend Nicola Sturgeon, there is precedent here. Nicola Sturgeon, when she was leader, suspended other Scottish MSPs who were under suspicion of other things. So I think Natalie McGarry was one, for example. So there is precedent that he could follow to say, this is what happens in our party, whoever you are, and we absolutely believe in the principle of innocent until proven guilty, but while you are under these circumstances, it is better that you do not have the SNP whip. That he hasn't even got the strength to take that stance within his own party and within Scotland really just proves once again that he really is a very poor leader.
Yeah, I've got to say, you know, if you think about films and scripts and all the rest of it, and you were to sit down and chart the kind of the roadmap of what has gone on in UK politics of this last kind of few years, you'd be hard-pressed, I think, to actually make up, with fiction, you'd be hard-pressed to make up some of the absolute ridiculousness that has gone on. And, of course, it is not yet over. Are you in Scotland? Are you watching this from Scotland? What do you make to it all? Get in touch and let me know your thoughts. Phil says, I feel so sorry for Nicola Sturgeon. She's wanted to be the Queen of Scotland since she was 16. Is that a view shared by many of you? Lots of you getting in touch, saying stuff that I can't repeat, of course. Well, of course, it's tea time, and of course, it's an ongoing court case as well. Let me know your thoughts. Keep them coming in.